you have seen him literally everywhere. He's one of
Everywhere.
we just watched Teen Wolf together via
Yes, we did.
we did.
We had
People
a
know you
watch
from
party.
programs like you're in Stand By Me, I believe.
I was in Stand By Me. I was the husky child in Stand By Me.
Husky,
Yeah.
yes. I was gonna say voluptuous child, but husky. We'll go with
Voluptuous.
husky.
I don't know if I feel too good about the voluptuous.
I feel really bad. I feel really bad about voluptuous child, Jenny. I got to just say it.
Well, then I will let my group know. I have a group.
I was a husky kid in Stand By Me. It's Jerry O'Connell.
It's Jerry
I should
O'Connell.
say this is all happening because Jenny and I did a Teen Wolf watch party where there was about 20 of us on a group text, and it was really fun.
It was.
And Jenny said, listen, Danny and I had Keith Morrison booked for a two-parter, but he only did one episode. Do you have tomorrow night free for this? And so I jumped over. But I do have to say, Jenny, watching that show, there is a husky character in Teen Wolf that I forgot about that is sort of his friend on the basketball team. And everyone was sort of making fun of the fat guy in that movie. And you know what? I wasn't cool with that. It really
the husky kid, by the way, in Teen Wolf, as I'm watching it, I'm like, that's Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Correct.
Oh
my God.
It was
the guy who played Not for Sale, Francis, fully husky, voluptuous gentleman in Teen Wolf.
But now, Jerry, I need to ask you about this because I would think and look, you were a big disgusting child. I'm kidding. You were but you must sort of I don't mean that at all. You were adorable, obviously.
I know. It's hilarious.
But I will say this. Like, as a person who myself, you don't have to know. My weight goes up and down. I think, like, you must serve as an inspiration to a lot of kids who maybe start off life a little bit doughy, come into the world with like a solid B cup as a boy, and now I look at you, Jerry, and I think like I'm not gay, but I'm aroused every time I think about you.
And by the way, Jerry, before I'm just going to say, Danny begins a lot of sentences with "I'm not gay," but
right.
Yeah,
he's got to throw that in there. I totally understand it. You know what? It's so funny. I wish I had I wish I had like a plan. Like I wish I had like this is gonna date me, but like a Susan Powder like regime that I did. Like I just went straight to keto and that's it. I just, you know what? I did Stand By Me. I was, when we shot the film, I was 11. And, the other kids I worked with who were pretty established young actors at the time were about 14 and 15. So they had sort of been through puberty, and I had not. So then literally the year after we shot it and it came out, I grew, I'd say about 8 inches.
Oh my God.
It was just puberty, So I think I was a husky kid who had not grown. Now I did drink this was in the mid 80s. I drank, I'd say about 5 to 6 liters of cola a day.
Yeah.
But that's what's good for children in the 80s. Yeah.
I averaged about 6 to 8 sticks of Twix a day as well. Twix was my jam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I like them. It's got that cookie crunch.
And I will say, actually, maybe I did sort of. There was a conscious effort. My wife. Holy shit. My mom. Oh God.
Hold on.
Gotta go.
We'll dig into that in a minute, Jerry. But go on.
I gotta go back. That's gonna cost me about $500 for therapy now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to lay down on the couch now outside, and we can?
I gotta go back to couples therapy.
We can work through it right now.
Shit. No, my mom worked out at a fitness club, and she worked out with a trainer, and she got the trainer to work out with me. This is when I was about 11 or 12, and I was overweight as a child. And
well, wait, did your
said,
mom like sell that to you in a way of like, how did she tell you were going to be working out? Because you have to do that subtly with the kid. You can't just say, hey. You're like Danny
my
said,
mother-
you're disgusting. Let's get you in front of this person.
My mother is from a small country called Jersey City, and
Oh,
And
it was
I
like
get it.
Danny just popped a bone.
I think she was like, you got to go to my gym. You're just eating too much. It's just getting crazy, and you're not. I'm worried about you. And so I went to her gym, and it was like a gymnasium, like a. I mean, this is the '80s, so I don't think we had like Crunch and like 24-hour fitness on every corner. So it was a place in New York.
Jack
Yeah, it was
Lane.
like
I remember that was one
yeah.
thing we had everywhere at that time. Yeah.
It was like,
and I
hey, you
went
need to
in-
be eating steak and eggs, boy, for breakfast.
But you
Something.
know what? But this actually really, this actually has a lot to do with how I sort of, I don't want to say got in shape, but like was more conscious of how I ate really. I met with a trainer, and the first thing he said to me was, he gave me a little notebook. I remember it was like a little like composition notebook, with like it's not camouflage, but like that school, like
Yeah, the
pattern
black
on
and
the
white
front.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the
black and white, yeah,
composition
like-
book. Yeah, yeah.
Academic, composition, academic camouflage.
Yeah.
And he said, I want you to write down everything you put in your mouth. And I mean everything. I mean, like, if you have a sip of soda, you got to put it in. If you have a candy bar, you got to put it in. If you have a piece of bread, you got to put it in. Everything. For 1 week, you're going to write it all down. And I did. And I went to go see him a week later. And I got to tell you, he was like, okay, let's just go through this. And we read it. And when I read it back, I was horrified.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you see what's happening here? And I was like, yeah. And he really taught me how to eat and everything. Oh God, he was such a nice guy. His name was Charles Brown. God rest his soul. He passed away. He's, this is in New York in the '80s. He died of sadly he died of AIDS in the early '90s. So sad. I'm sorry to bring everybody down. I know doing it as a comedy podcast, but holy shit. But he God rest his soul. But he really helped me out. He really did. Charlie Brown,
and you used the tools that he taught you.
No, it's really hard. Like, no kid likes the way they look at 11, or as a little kid. And I've been sensitive to this just being on TV shows with kid actors all the time. And I can't imagine what that must be like if you're not feeling great about how you look, and then you're like on a big screen. Because even like, I don't care who you are. Very few kids are going to look and go like, yeah, I look great there. So
I don't know. Many adults don't feel that great about how they look.
That's true.
Well, want to know what's funny is, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but on Twitter, I was in a TV show after Stand By Me. I had just graduated college, and I did a TV show called Sliders, sci-fi show. It was on Fox.
I remember it.
I watched
it. Was great.
Yeah. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew.
Okay, look, I have a thing against the word erectile dysfunction, the term erectile dysfunction. And you know this about me, Jenny.
I know this about you because that was my band's name and you got mad about that.
Yeah, and I don't like to call it erectile dysfunction. I like to think that as I've gotten older, my erections are more discriminating. They don't just, I don't give it up for just anything. And, you occasionally you need that boost, people. Let's face it.
Everyone needs a little something. Yes. Sometimes
you need a little something. So the great, I'm going to be 57 on Wednesday. And the greatest part of that is, when, when you were feeling a little nerfy in the shorts, when you were like in your 30s, it was really embarrassing because you should just be like all there. And it happens to everybody even then. But now when it happens, it's like, hey, I'm 57. You're lucky to get one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when you hugged my mom, that happened.
Well, obviously, I'm not like made of steel, but not everybody has your mom around. And that's why you need Blue Chew. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis.
Yeah. And you could take them anytime, by the way, Danny.
I could.
Day.
How do you know I haven't taken one right now?
I like the idea that maybe you did. And guess what? Maybe I did.
We both took them. I don't think
I'm rock hard right now.
I don't believe they're for women. And
No, they're not for women. Don't do that.
don't
This
take
is this is why we're a comedy podcast. We say
that's,
the
yeah, don't, yeah. Well, here's something that they wanted me to say, and I'm going to say it because they were really strict about it. It says Blue Chew is made in the USA. It's prescribed online by licensed physicians. So you don't have to go to the doctor or wait in line. It's even cheaper than a pharmacy, and they prepare and ship it right to you in a discreet package. No awkwardness, and you don't need to leave the house. And I'd just like to add, you also don't need to buy a bunch of stuff at the pharmacy that you don't really need because you don't want to just go there for boner pills.
exactly. You don't have to buy garbage bags and
Yeah,
moisturizer.
a toilet brush, the latest episode, the latest issue of Us. No,
As seen on TV products.
as seen on TV products, you don't need that. So, so visit bluechew.com now and get your first shipment free when you use our special code Danny. See that, Dad? I made it. My name is a promo code for Boner Meds.
One day, I have a dream now.
Yeah, and you'll just pay $5 in shipping. You go to bluechew.com, promo code Danny, and that's it. That's BLUE chew.com, promo code Danny. Try it for free. I know I am. I don't
this
even
product, it's the cheaper choice too.
It's
and they sponsor the podcast.
And they sponsor the podcast. And I'm alone right now, but the most humiliating thing is when I can't even perform when I'm alone. And this has saved me a lot of embarrassment and tears to myself in the mirror. So Danny,
anything that'll make you smile and not cry tears of sadness.
I'm a much happier person. Danny at bluechew.com.
Blue Chew.
I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but on Twitter, I was in a TV show after Stand By Me. I just graduated college and I did a TV show called Sliders, sci-fi show. It was on Fox.
I remember it.
I remember. I
Sure.
watched
It was great.
Yes.
So they had a Sliders pilot rewatch party in the summer, whatever, in last year.
Uh-huh.
And so, I got the pilot and everyone was like, okay, at 7 p.m., we're going to hit play. And we did it. And I watched it. And I have to tell you, I was mortified at how bad my acting was at the age of 21. Just, I was playing, hold on to something. I was playing a physicist in that show, a physicist. And look, you got to remember, this was like 95, like I'm 21, you're still
I
like
remember that show well.
Yeah, I do too.
But I have to say, looking back, I would have played the physicist so differently than how I played it. Like, I just was wearing like a Gap like shirt, and like for some reason I put my collar up in one scene, and I was like, what am I doing? Why? A physicist would never, like, if you think of like Stephen Hawking, would he ever like clench his cheekbones when he was like?
Shouldn't say that about Stephen Hawking.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to come up with a physicist.
Did he ever
like,
play
who's a
beach
famous
volleyball? No.
I don't know. I guess Elon Musk is a bad
Right.
version. Like somebody from the like.
Yeah.
I mean, I just would have like attacked it more like Timothy Chalamet. I mean, I don't know. Like I just like. It was almost like I was like a character from like Saved by the Bell playing a physicist. I was very embarrassed about my acting.
Well, you had to be like the attractive physicist. You had to.
I mean, I don't know.
That's part of it.
But getting back to like being embarrassed, I was more embarrassed. Man, when I rewatched Stand By Me, that movie is so effing good. It's almost like a. And I gotta say, it's all Rob Reiner. He really. Let me tell you, you guys all are very established people in showbiz. I'll tell you the big difference with that movie and other movies and TV today. Before that movie started, I don't know if they do it anymore. Before that movie started, for 2 weeks, he locked the four of us in a hotel. I mean, he didn't lock us in. That makes it sound like it was like forced labor. We all went to a hotel in Oregon where we shot it. And before we shot anything, we rehearsed for 2 weeks. Just rehearse scenes. went to the locations where we were shooting in the middle of the bush, and he would block out scenes with us and see where they went. And by the time we got to shooting on day one, there was no like holding of the script and saying like, oh, I don't know if I would play it this way, or I might make a cross over here, or why is this written so angry for me? Can we sit down and talk? That had all been worked out. And
It's so good.
I just think in today's world, and it's no one's fault, because I think people are heavily scheduled, and maybe people can't afford the time to rehearse anymore. I don't know.
I'll tell you, there's a theory about this, and I think it's accurate. Is Rob came from TV, and and when you're doing TV, and especially multicam where he came up, you rehearse all week to shoot on Friday, right. And you just sort of see that. And the guys who came from TV, like, and even like it's a different thing, but like Judd Apatow, he runs a writer's room on his movies. It's not like he gathers all of his funniest friends and we punch it up like you would do after a table read. And like, so that TV process, I think if you can bring that into movies, it always helps it. It just always does. So,
amazing.
I think I definitely think that's a big thing.
But well, let me ask this. So like for you, Jerry, was that your very first movie?
Very first, yeah. I was an extra in a commercial.
Okay, so your very first movie, you had that experience of like being that prepared. Was it jarring?
Why do you think I'm so depressed? Why do you think I'm so? I mean, you just heard me. Why do you think I'm so spiteful with my children and everything? It's over.
Yeah.
Well, because you have children. I mean, by the way, one thing you and Danny have in common, you both have twin fraternal daughters.
Oh, fuck.
Oh God, look at us.
Both of you do. And so like, I don't have kids. I have a wonderful dog. My heart goes out to both of you.
Birdie. Shout out to Birdie. Birdie up in heaven. What's up?
Birdie.
Gotta give it up to birds.
Rest in power.
It's only too bad that you weren't like when we were doing this all at my house and Birdie would come in and clear the room with her old lady farts. They're
horrible.
She ran astronaut Scott Kelly, the hero, year in space, ran him completely out of the house, gagging because of her farts.
He had to leave. He'd been through NASA training, but couldn't take that dog's farts.
No, he was in a space station. He was in a space station with all astronauts, and there's no vacuum, there's no air conditioning, like living in farts for a year.
Came plummeting back to Earth, 20,000 miles per hour in a hail of fire and everything. But my dog, Birdie, my Basset,
freaked him out.
She got him. Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way, actually, when she passed away, sent me the nicest like sympathy card that said, in very astronaut terms, was, "What a wonderful dog. I'm so glad I got to meet her despite her off-gassing."
Oh, that's like, amazing.
What a lovely way to describe her rank farts, but off-gassing. Yes.
Oh, man.
That's
much more
so amazing. Now, I always like, I do like people, I like talking to people, like I don't talk to the ones who haven't made it this far, but like kid actors who've gone on to have careers and have gone on. What do you think, like for you, like what was the secret? What was the secret to staying grounded through all of that? I've watched I've watched it fuck up so many people over my 30 years doing this. And it's like, so I know it takes a special kind of fortitude. I was just curious for you, what do you attribute it to?
It's a little bit.
I was going to ask what went wrong, and you're asking.
It's a little bit in the news right now because so sadly, Screech passed away.
Yes.
Dustin Diamond passed away last week, and really sort of passed away tragically. I mean, it sounds like he had a medical condition that he didn't take care of. And it's funny. I was listening to Stern, and he was talking about Dustin Diamond being a guest and a great guest on a show and everything. And he had problems, it sounds like, with his parents. It sounds like, man, it's so funny. I have a joke, and it's kind of like it's going to be a sick joke, but I might as well tell it. Whenever I work with kids on a show, on a set, and I always go up and meet their parents and say, "Hi, how are you?" Just to let the parents, because as much as anyone, Mr. Z,
Yeah.
that parents are as much of a part of it as the kids are. You know, they're there and everything.
For sure.
And I kind of know that too as a kid actor. You know, as a former
Yeah.
kid actor. And I always say as a joke, I always go, "Hey, don't let them steal your money." And I say it, but I also like say it, I think, because I want to put
I
them in
get it.
check a little bit, you know, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everyone goes like, haha, and everyone sort of laughs, sometimes a little too nervously and loudly. But
Uh-huh.
I say it, I just, I say it as a pointed sort of joke.
Yeah.
That said, to answer your question, it was my parents. My parents made me go to college, you know, like even when Stand By Me came out, and
Uh-huh.
we were, you have to understand, when I made Stand By Me, it was a small independent movie. We were shocked that I got it. We
Mhm.
were shocked that
Right.
I made it. My father, very funny guy, British advertising guy, mid-level advertising guy in New York. I came home from the summer in Oregon and I said, "Oh, Dad, it was so cool. They had a crane shot and they let us ride the crane. And then they, for the dead body in the scene, they had a dummy, but it didn't look real. So they used a real guy and they put a beetle in his mouth and the beetle bit his mouth." And I was telling my father all these stories because my father
Uh-huh.
wasn't with me. My
Uh-huh.
parents had to work and my grandparents came with me. And my
Uh-huh.
father, who's British, very dry, very funny, said, and my father, who worked in advertising, had a guy who was a copywriter that he worked with who had gone to LA and um, tried to make a movie and then had to quit his job. I think he was like a VP, quit his job, went to make the movie. The movie didn't come out and he had to move back and like start off as a copywriter again. So my father was like, showbiz isn't real, you know? And,
Uh-huh.
you know, and so my father said to me, this is right when we finished Stand By Me. He's went, "You're about to start school again. Now, when you go to school, don't tell everyone these stories and that you're in a film and starring in a film, because I have some terrible news for you. This movie will never be released. Ever. This
That's
movie will never see the light of day. No one,
I,
these stories you're telling me now so excitedly, and I see it in your eyes. I see the fire in your eyes. No one will know what you're ever talking about. These are memories that you have that
uh-huh.
no one else knows. And if you are to make it in this life, you must
Yeah.
expect nothing,
Oh my
absolutely
God.
nothing. You
I
must
love this guy.
enjoy the process. You must have a good time, have a good attitude during the process, and then know when it's over. No one will ever see it, ever."
And then you
And
went on to Hogwarts after that. Or...
I tell you, he told
That's
me that, and I was a little devastated. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And I
But he
I
did.
think this
actually, in a weird way, prepared you for potential, the potential for
I
things
guess
to
it did.
not work out, and then also the excitement for when they do.
Sorry, Danny. What are you saying?
no, I think
No,
I
sorry.
love this guy. I feel exactly the same way. I mean, honestly, I'm pitching a show right now, and I felt myself and the guy I'm writing with it, Zachary, and we were getting really excited. And I felt the need to sort of tell him, and it's a guy with a lot of experience, by the way. And I felt the need to just say to him, it's like, it's great that that it's going this well right now. It's probably not going to happen. Just know that. And I felt like a dick. So I love your dad because and God help me. I think I have my hopes up for one of these projects, and it's like I wish I could just. I want to talk to your dad right now about it. It's like that's how I feel right
No, I have to tell you, it really has prepared me, not only for life, but most importantly, for the entertainment industry.
Yeah,
now.
I mean,
Yes.
for
if
sure.
if anyone is listening to this, like, and I sound like I'm laughing and having a good time and everything, like, if I could tell you the amount of public failures I've had, it's
Oh,
really it's really disheartening. Oh my God, a buddy of mine from college posted something. There's a podcast called, I think it's called Dead in the Eyes or Dead Eyes,
Uh-huh.
something like that. And it's about failures at work and how you should expect nothing at work.
Yeah.
I mean, I look, I know this isn't very motivational and I should be talking about like funny things about the Britney documentary with you guys,
Right.
but like, I'm sorry to get all
Yeah.
depressed, but really, I even tell my kids who are like 12, I'm like, girls, like expect, let me tell you the O'Connell way.
Yeah.
We expect not only nothing, we expect things to go really badly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out that way, that's a victory. That's a huge victory for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's-
I also would I would add to this, and I'd point out that our producer Guy had a podcast for a long time that I quite like called Failing
Yeah,
Up.
sure.
But
It's
it was
the guy.
it was
Mhm.
it's the guy. And but it's like what's interesting about those stories though is like as much because I had the same thing. I mean, I fallen to my knees with disappointment and tears, but it's like surviving that shit. Like I don't know that I would take a lot of it back.
Well, no, and actually, you know what? I'll tell you, watching, when The Last Dance came out, the Michael Jordan docuseries and everything, and I'm a huge diehard, fan and everything, and one of his best quotes that I always think about is that I failed and failed and failed and failed, and that's why I'm successful. Which it's like that's true. You don't ever benefit from success. It's like that's great, but all those failures is what led to your success. And the Johnson household, let me tell you, it was like oh, you're gonna move out to LA, well, good fucking luck, that's not gonna work. But I'm like, well, when I told you I was gonna be a sports producer, same thing, but I did it, and then I was a news producer, and then I did this, but it was always like prepping me for I talked to my mom, I'll do stand up, and she's like, did they all tell you didn't do good? Like, well, I sold out a show. Well, okay, well, this time, you're like, great. But as much as, and sometimes I'll have friends that are horrified to hear that. However, it's not a bad thing. I wouldn't trade it. I appreciate the preparing me for the potential for failure versus you're going to be great. Everything's going to work out, perfect. It's not. Like,
it's actually a good, if you're gentle, it's a good lesson to teach your kids. And do your daughters have given their pedigree with mom and dad, do they have show business aspirations?
This is where you're going to call Child Protective Services. I have two daughters, much like you, Mr. Z. Two daughters, twins.
Yes. Uh-huh.
One has it. One has got it. She's like, I gotta tell you, they've been in a couple school plays back when there used to be school and plays.
Yeah.
And she's got it. My other daughter, I love them both. I love them both equally. I really do. I swear.
Of course. I believe it.
I have another daughter who just doesn't. She doesn't have it.
She's just dropping the ball left and right constantly.
It's just honestly, like no one would love that Disney Channel money more than me.
Yeah.
It's just not coming. Listen, she's hilarious. She's a lot of fun, a little bit moody, sometimes cries spontaneously for no apparent reason, whatever. But like, I have one daughter who, like, when she is like, wants to go in and play, they were in Into the Woods, I guess the witch character, remember that, like, she has that, there was like solos in it, and she like picked up the script, and she was like, I was like, hey, you have your audition tomorrow, let's just go over it and everything. And she like put on a witch voice and did it all, and I was like, this chick is got it.
Yeah.
And then of course my other daughter is like, hey, I want to practice with you, and she just comes out and reads her lines, and I'm like, you're fired, you're never getting this. I'm kidding. No, it's just but I do have to say, like, in terms of parenting, and I am really not a great parent, as you can tell from this podcast, of me yelling, make sure my kids aren't on TikTok.
No, you're making Danny feel better.
I feel so much better. I'm going to play this
Yeah.
for my daughters and my son and say, like, look how bad it could have been.
Yeah.
You know,
This could've
I
been
have
you.
to say, like, kids are like, they're wired how they're wired. Like, you can
Yeah.
do a
They
little,
are.
like, you can maybe drive them to practice a couple times, or you can take them to theater rehearsals, but really they're going to find the path that they want.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
Well, they come out of the package. Like we all come out of the package who we are, and then our parents
it's
teach us right from wrong.
right.
But like I've been the same silly, goofy person. My sister was born a 40-year-old. Like she has always been like that. She's the like 9-year-old babysitting career. You know, she was that person. I was the opposite of that. And it was
Right.
just our parents to go like, okay, well, that's who she is. That's Amy, and that's Jenny, and we'll just, you know, act accordingly with them instead of forcing us to try to be, you know,
Funny.
one way or the other. But yeah,
And Jerry, I'm sure you realize it comes into stark relief, I think, with twins. I found, especially fraternal twins, is because, you know, like you're subjecting them to the same inputs socially. Like, and like so this great social experiment of nature and nurture. It's like my daughters can't, like, I have one daughter. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're now 22, but like one's straight, one's gay. One was like, you know, and the gay one wasn't the good athlete. It was the straight one. And like, and the gay one has all of my athletic skills. And it's just like, and then the other one is just like, it's like this gymnast. How do you freaking do that shit? And it's like, that had nothing to do with me. You came out this way.
Really funny.
All I can do is make you a slightly better person, and with the huge potential of making you far worse people. So if I can avoid that, I feel like that's success.
That's really funny. Really funny.
I feel you, man. I totally feel you. What and I just a shout out to your wife, who I met years before you on Just Shoot Me.
Rebecca Romaine, sure.
yes.
She says hi.
Rebecca Romaine.
Hi, Rebecca.
Rebecca was so goddamn funny on Just Shoot Me. She was so good. And by the way, that was a show because it took place in a fashion magazine. And I'm not going to trash people, but we would occasionally have the model type come through, and some of the model types were not the great thespians you might have hoped for, or were not really that aware of where the joke was. So she was truly, she was that, they say God doesn't give with both hands, but he gave with both hands with her on that show.
Right.
We were all very appreciative of what she did on that show.
A couple things. You don't live with her, Mr. Z.
Yes, I really don't. That's true. Stop bragging.
We're actually, I'm sorry to say this, we're not together anymore. I'm joking.
Oh my God.
Hey, Guy, let's just cut that the way before he says, send it to the internet.
These are jokes. My wife is right in there, not going on the internet, so I have enough.
There's no way. She's hogtied. She's in fucking
I'm so
Toronto.
sorry, guys.
She's not getting out.
Trying to save money in between TV shows. I got the smaller bandwidth package. I apologize.
Yeah, I by the way, I don't see any house, and it's fine if it's the case. Just be honest. Are you homeless, Jerry?
No, I'm out. I find I get best reception closer to the roof of my house. So I'm up in front of
near the bridge.
I'm up. This is like a park in back of us.
And it is below
and there's
below
freezing, right? In front of you.
My wife is we're currently in Toronto. My wife is working on the new Star Trek show.
Nice.
We all came up because my kids don't have school and I'm not working, so we thought we'd come up and join her. And good.
How does she feel about it?
I only brought. I mean, we came from Los Angeles, so I only had like a vest. I didn't have a real like winter jacket.
I was that way, even just going up to San Francisco.
Internet and Oh yeah, how was your road trip, Mr. Z? You went up north?
Yeah, I turned in a couple of scripts. I came up north.
I listened to the podcast. You went on a road trip.
Yeah, I love you, man. I feel like I swear to God, if you're in Toronto right now and I wasn't in a country that banned people, I would come up and visit you and hug you. No, I hiked around Big Sur, and I mean, look, I can't be the first person to tell you this. Big Sur, fucking beautiful.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
I hiked for miles today. I was in I hiked around the Muir Woods with a former podcast guest, Carrie Byron, from Mythbusters, and
awesome.
she took me on a tour through the redwoods, and I got my head right. Now I'm just driving back. But do you have any irons in the fire? Anything you want to tease us with, Mr. O'Connell?
I'm so sorry, guys. I got nothing going on.
I love it.
You can follow me on Yelp. I've been writing a lot of Yelp reviews.
I'm looking forward to our next movie night, Jerry. What's it
yeah,
gonna
no,
be?
we do. I'm watching The Crown. I had never watched it before. I'm really ashamed about that. Oh, I know you guys like to hear what, like on your show, you like to talk about what you're watching.
Yes, we do.
I want to tell
everyone.
everyone.
By the way, I still haven't watched The Crown. I'm late to the party.
Either.
You guys should honestly.
Me either.
Like,
but you segued.
I would love to insert a joke here about The Crown, but it's the acting is really. You know what? We all work in television. Some of us work in award-winning television. Some of us work in shows that immediately get canceled. But
most of my career, by the way, I got lucky. Go on.
Yeah.
There was a scene in The Crown. Oh man, I forget what it was. It was something with Claire Foy. Fuck, I don't know. There was a scene in The Crown, and something happened, and they had Claire Foy and another character staring at each other I timed it because I rewind it for 1 minute. So there was no dialogue. It was just them staring at each other for a minute. Now, normally you would make fun of something like that. If you left a minute beat in a show, it'd be like, are you crazy? Like, are you killing time? And I want to say, watching it, it was one of the more chilling experiences I've had watching anything. And I paused it and said to my wife, can you believe these MFers like leave a minute of silence? And like, how do you script that? Do you script like they look at each other for 60 seconds? I mean, I'm really blown away by that show. You should really check it out. It's really.
I'm going to.
Because you said so, finally I will.
Yes,
also,
we're good.
And also, I do this thing where I Google watch it. So, something happens where they won't where Prince Charles dated Camilla, and then Camilla's ex dated Charles's sister. And you're like, there's no way this fucking happened. And then you Google, did Charles's sister date Camilla's brother? And it happened. Like you Google watch this thing, you pause it. I mean, it would be like pausing it and being like, did Walter White really kill 7 people simultaneously in Albuquerque? And it would be like, yes, Walter White. This is based on true events. He killed 7 people simultaneously. I mean, I Google watched it. I'm sorry to talk. I know it's an 8-year-old show. I know you like to be.
We
haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I haven't watched it.
But I am going to be a little hip with programming. I did watch the Britney documentary, which I think
I watched it last night.
Oh, yes. What are your thoughts, Jenny? Let's hear it.
I want to know your thoughts too. It was disturbing, and it's weird to think that I was more hung up on the things that were okay with being said to her. Diane Sawyer interview, the late night jokes, like the things that we just listened to and we're like, okay, that's, whatever. Like no one thought, oh, this is weird that these adults are asking this girl that's 21 if she's a virgin or not. And no one was, this was perfectly okay. Like nothing was. The only thing that I didn't like was the free Britney people. Like they really took all
Careful. You guys are online a lot.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
getting harassed.
No, it was. I'm on her side. It was just they took the credibility of the documentary. Like you'd be in it, and I'm with them. I'm listening, and I'm like, man, this is fucked up. Whatever. And then let's cut to these free Britney people. that are screaming. Like, I'm like, why aren't y'all at work? Or like, do you, like, I was more concerned about kind of throwing her like really, really passionate fan base, if you will, into this very real situation that was happening to her. And so it kind of took away from it. That's my honest opinion. I think everyone should watch it. I thought it was good, but
don't you kind
where
of
is
want to
it?
go to one of the? Oh, sorry, Danny. Sorry.
No,
Mr.
where
Z.
is it? Is this new? Is this
yeah,
new?
it's on Hulu. It's like a New York Times.
It's
Okay.
I believe the New York Times' first docu series.
It's
So
the
like,
first
wow.
docuseries, yeah.
everybody's getting in the documentary game, and you had the king of all documentarians on your show, Keith Morrison, the
Oh.
king.
Oh my God.
My
The king.
love,
I have to
rock,
tell
my
you something.
passion.
My wife and I love a good crime series. Of course, we're huge Dateline fans. We believe we've watched every episode of Dateline. We believe, because we record them all. The ones on OWN,
Oh, I
the
do
ones
too.
on
Yeah.
NBC. The one we have a queue of about 30. We watch them all.
Wow.
That said, we'll watch like The Keepers on Netflix, or
Yep.
like what's another one?
The Staircase was my favorite.
The Staircase, Murder on Middle Beach, all those
Yeah.
ones. We'll watch all of them. Honestly, we get through all of them and we say to ourselves, Dateline does it better. Dateline does it the
That's
best.
amazing. Oh,
Now,
you have to send this to Keith.
Oh, I will.
do it the best.
So
The
does
way they
Mankiewicz, too. He'll
unfold the
like it.
story, there's always some sort of twist. I mean, I got to tell you, some of those murder ones, I don't want to call them out, because sometimes it deals with people who are like I don't want to talk about people who are like
Yeah.
murder, all that stuff. It's terrible. But when there's not an answer to these documentary, when it just is like, well, we don't know.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah.
it could have been anyone. And you've invested hours in this thing.
Yeah, and you left us
It
fucking hanging.
It makes me really upset. But I don't want to say anything that rude, because it is based on like actual events, but like, you need
I need an ending. I made the mistake of suggesting to my mom to watch the new Unsolved Mysteries, and her feedback was like, well, I'd like to get an answer. And I was like, well, you know what the show's called? It's called Unsolved Mysteries. What did you think was gonna fucking happen? Like, I was like,
Mr. Z, on your recommendation, my wife and I watched The Lady and the Dale last week.
Oh, what'd you think?
You know what? I gotta tell you, it was really interesting watching a film about a trans person in the 70s that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Same here. That's exactly how I feel.
I just started it. It's fascinating.
It was really interesting. And you know what? I actually I felt obviously very sad for her, because if she was around today, things would have been she would have been treated very differently. And
completely.
I was actually very proud of society, like how we've I mean, obviously there's a lot farther we can go, but how far we've come from the Lady in the Dale. It was I felt an immense sense of pride to be a part of this movement.
I agree with you completely, and I also like that it also didn't make her a hero. Like, she is a grifter, but it was like the complication of why that story became. It kind of goes to what you were saying, Jenny, about the late night hosts and the jokes. Yeah. I'll go to mine. I watched, on your recommendation, I just finished it last night, the Tiger Woods documentary.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That is
really good.
I loved it. And
yeah.
I started out as a late night, I'm like a late night joke writer, and I did a lot of that stuff. And I've really examined, like, wow, we really are attacking people in like a major, like actual human.
Yeah.
Because, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't quite as aware of
your audio's taking a dump, I think.
Hold it. Is that my kid?
Seem, but not human beings. And I didn't think about his. What a fascinating documentary. What a
No,
I
fascinating.
gotta watch
was-
it.
Yeah, and Jerry, if you haven't seen it, the second it's a two-parter on HBO, and the second part, I mean, the teaser to the first one is right at the very end before the credits roll. That Rachel Yucatel, the first mistress, sits down in a chair and goes, "Okay, what do you want me to say?" And then credits roll. And you're like, I gotta wait a whole fucking week.
And so now you get to watch. Now you get to watch it all in one shot.
Yeah, and it's like you have this empathy for him, like to an extent, you know, like you're like, you're Tiger Woods, you're a grown up, you should know better. But then you see how he was raised, you see the things that he saw.
Dad did.
He was taught. His dad was a fucking piece of work, man.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, it's a really fascinating character study. So that was the one thing I've watched. Jenny, before we go, what have you watched?
Well, first off, that last episode of WandaVision. Have you seen that?
Oh
one
my
yet?
God. Yep.
Jerry,
Very into it.
WandaVision?
You know, I have not watched it yet. I just got the Disney Plus, so I'll start to get through it a little bit. You know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. I like to wait till all the episodes are there so I can bang it out.
I don't.
get it.
Worse, and because we're so spoiled right now. Like the fact that it was being dropped one episode at a time, I was like, why are they doing this to me? I should be able to plow through whatever I want to. I should never have to watch a commercial or wait. Heaven forbid. The WandaVision's been my favorite thing that I've seen so far. And then I watched what was it? Oh damn it, I wrote it down. Keep talking. What, Danny, was there anything else you saw while I'm
Oh, you know what I thought was pretty funny? When Keith Morrison was on, when he was suggesting to you, Jenny, that you date prisoners.
That was
right.
amazing.
He's 100% fucking right too.
I've been telling her this.
By the way, there is that reality show it didn't really hold my attention that much, but it's Love After Lockup. So it's people who love each other in prison.
No, I always have a joke about like the women that write love letters to serial killers. You know, like that happens, and you think like their vote counts just as much.
Psychos, man.
Everyone else's like
psychos, crazy.
No, the Keith Morrison. I still can't believe that Keith agreed to do the podcast. I can't believe you did, Jerry. But Keith being on was so funny because he was so shy.
I gotta say, Jenny, you were the first person that I knew that really had like a public, that really announced their love publicly for Keith Morrison. I mean, you follow that Keith leading on things, Instagram feed?
Yeah, people tag me in that shit all the time. Like, it has been the longest running joke, and like I'm friends with some of the people that are producers at Dateline that have so everyone had to, when I started, really pretending that we were in love, and one of my friends that's producer goes, yeah, we had to tell him that was a joke because he was like, who's this woman? I think she's from Texas, and she's really saying explicit things, and they're like, no, it's a joke, just play along. And the moment he started playing along, I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah, for somebody who's been like
such a good sport.
Yeah, for someone who's seen like the worst in humanity, he was shockingly square, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, because we had Josh Mankiewicz on, and he's a friend to the podcast, and Mankiewicz is like, sit down right here, I'll tell you,
Mankiewicz, Mankiewicz is the life of the party, and Keith Morrison is just sort of the quiet guy who you feel might be plotting against you.
Yeah.
God.
No, he's
that Bill Hader imitation. And that Bill Hader imitation is it gets me every time.
I can watch those same clips over. I can watch them and it'll still make me laugh. But it's like, we found him in the trunk. Was he all right?
So you saw your father shot in the face. That must have been wild.
Was he all right? Oh, did you ever see Bill Hader? If you haven't seen it, by the way, we could attach Bill Hader doing the impression. He was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he did every person that was on Dateline.
Mankiewicz,
and Mankiewicz was, he's like I said, he's a friend. When they did but he did Mankiewicz. Mankiewicz was the one who texted me the link, and he goes, "You've got to watch this. This is the highlight of my career." And then it's like most people, when they see a dead body, they call 911. But you didn't do that, did you?
But you didn't do that.
Jenny,
Josh was
late-
like, "Do I really say it that much?" I'm like, "Maybe."
Hey guys,
Okay.
listen, before I go, can I get some sort of discount code to Blue Chews?
Yes.
Yeah, Blue Chew. Yeah.
Yes.
They're not
And
for
what
me,
is our-
it's for a friend. I don't need those. I mean, guy, I don't need them.
I believe our discount code is still, I believe it's still Danny.
Yeah. Not
Uh,
because
with-
Danny asked for it to be Danny. It just
No, that's
they
not
knew.
true.
I think they just knew.
But I'm
Okay.
still waiting for my free Blue Chews. I definitely could have used them on this trip. But you know, what can I say? You know,
Oh, man.
occasionally a man gets a little bit older. Sometimes it takes a little
This
more
is so-
work. That's all I'm going to say.
This is so perfect.
Yes.
Next time I hit some of those Blue Chews, I'm going to be thinking of that promo code.
Yeah.
Danny.
Yeah.
Just spell
no,
it. Say it slowly.
see,
G-A-I-N-O. Yeah. Sing it like
My
you are.
dad never thought I'd amount to anything, and now I'm the bonus code on boner pills. How do you like that, old man? I did it.
I'm sad my dad's not around to see that his daughter is slinging boner pills on the fucking internet. I did
Well,
it, Dad.
well, Jerry, you are a delight. I love talking to you. I think the last time I saw you might have been at Jesse's wedding.
Yeah.
Is it possible that's the last time I saw you? But anyway, that was a delightful soiree, and you're one of the good ones for
You too.
sure.
You guys
And,
you guys do the real work. It was a crazy. I mean, things are getting better now, hopefully, but like the last 5 years have been crazy, and really, you guys have really helped. Just through your social media, have helped us all get through it. I'm a huge fan.
Well, that just made me feel really good. Danny?
Love you guys. Peace out. I'm gonna go
Gary?
watch another season of The Crown tonight.
All right. Thank you for
Love you
being on
too.
Gary O'Connell, everybody.
Yeah.